I want you to talk on this clip from Kevin O'Leary, because it falls right in line with what we're talking about of the ripple effect of such choices and how it's going to shape the landscape of business. This clip from Kevin O'Leary, I want to know what you think of it after you hear it.
Kind of comment that, some of these
Actually,
other
pause it
businesses
for a second.
do have rights.
I'm sorry I didn't give you context, or the listener context. So this is Kevin O'Leary responding to what happened with the Trump fine out of New York City. But think of the implications. Tie the Trump fine, Kelly Wong, and Kevin O'Leary, tie them all together.
New York and freaking California,
Yeah.
two most liberal states, and huge.
Some of these other businesses do have right to be concerned, whether they like Donald Trump or not. Maybe you can elaborate on that.
Well, this award, just leaving the whole Trump thing out of it and seeing what occurred here, and I'm no different than any other investor. I'm shocked at this. I can't even understand or fathom the decision at all. There's no rationale for it. And so let me give you a real-time experience I'm having regarding this, and I'm not the only one. It doesn't matter what the governor says. New York was already a loser state. Like California is a loser state. There are many loser states because of policy, high taxes, uncompetitive regulation. It was already on the top of the list of being a loser state. I would never invest in New York now, and I'm not the only person saying that. And here's a real-time situation. In development in real estate right now, the hottest asset class is very high-end data centers. They cost anywhere from $2.5 to $3.5 billion each. They're very expensive. They require low power. You need permits. But most of the major institutions in the world need more data centers, and that's why developers like me are doing this. Now, you need power. So New York has Niagara Falls. Normally, you'd consider that to put in one of these facilities, create 400 jobs, 5 more jobs for each of one of those for auxiliary services. I can't go to New York. So I'm going to Oklahoma, North Dakota, West Virginia. Governor Stitt, Kevin Stitt, my staff have met with him. Governor Bergen, the same thing. Governor Justice. Those are winner states. They don't do things like this. I have to syndicate that debt and all that equity. We're talking billions of dollars here. Do you think any foreign institution or any private equity firm or any pension fund would touch New York? No. And that's why New Yorkers should be concerned. The fine people of New York should ask themselves, why are we such a loser state? How are we going to attract business? It's not just the existing businesses that are fleeing out to Texas and Florida. What about new money like this that I'm talking about, like a $4 billion data center? Not a chance I would put that in New York. Zero probability. Never. And so they've got a lot of work to do to find themselves getting out of this situation. This has all occurred post-pandemic. Winner states versus loser states. Look at Tennessee right now.
I mean, we've always had that policy when it comes to buying real estate. So you just buy in business-friendly states that are generally conservative and have good tenant landlord laws.
Yeah.
And so this is another example of why you would do that. Why would I ever own real estate in New York? Ever. And on top of that, the need for office space and working in the city is going away. And then you parallel with what Kevin O'Leary just said about moving these major data centers to middle America, where it's more affordable, where people are moving. People will drive until they can afford to live. And so that's what's happening. People from California are moving to Colorado, which is relative. People that live in Colorado are moving to Kansas and Oklahoma and Texas and so on and so forth. So even Colorado is becoming a tough place to continue to do business because the laws are slowly moving towards the left and unfavorable for business owners and entrepreneurs.
And I think this is why. So one, did you notice how I love how he says like winner states and loser states. He does everything he can to say like not say anything political, like Democrats. He does.
But the loser states are
conservative states. But two, this is what we were talking about before. And I think it's just reiterating this point today of guys, if you don't take care of it's no different than the NBA. Think the federal government, think these states, the state governments and federal governments, they're the NBA right now. And you got entrepreneurs like us and this guy and Trump, and they're the consumer. And we're saying, you've built this. We've built this on your back, but now we're going to tell you how to do it.
Yep.
We're going to tell you how to do it. And it's not going to work, just like it's not going to work for the NBA, which we touched on. It's not going to work for these loser states, as Kevin O'Leary put it. But it can work for you if you understand this, which we previously said was you need to make content, because you know what keeps people from being able to have such dumb decision making? It's a video like that in 22 hours getting 600,000 views.
Well, to your point about the federal government, do you know what Article 5 of the Constitution is?
I do.
The Convention of States?
Yeah.
I'll read it to you guys. The full text of Article 5 reads, "The Congress, whenever 2/3 of both houses shall deem it necessary, shall propose amendments to this Constitution, or on the application of legislature of 2/3 of several states shall call a convention for proposing amendments, which in either case shall be valid to all intents and purposes as of this Constitution. When ratified by the legislature of 3/4 of several states, or by conventions in 3/4, therefore, as one of the other mode of the ratification may be proposed by Congress." Essentially, there is a movement called the Convention of States. We have 28 of 38 states necessary in order to move forward with a first of its kind Convention of States. We need 34 states to call the convention and 38 to ratify any amendments. If that were to happen, Congress has to call it, but they're not allowed to participate, which is crazy. So back to it starts local.
Yeah.
This movement's starting locally. It starts with your mayor, who moves up to the local county, which then moves up to the state level. Then from there, you get the state to then go and participate in the Convention of States. And so we are reaching a time when our forefathers saw the need for this prior to us even without it even being on the radar. And nobody had ever seen this before, but they could just see that there would become a point where the federal government would become so big that they would need to be overruled by the states.
Yeah.
And so we have a democratic republic, not a pure democracy. Right. And so this is what's coming down the pipe. And so if you guys don't know about it, we'll put it in the show notes, but it's something that I'm a part of, excited to see that it's growing legs, and would love to see a convention of states take place here in the next couple of years.
Dude, yeah. I'm not even going to go there, because I can go on the deep end on just like, then actually I'll touch on it a little bit, because we made a video about this that's coming out, which is when it relates to things like the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the laws that our forefathers established as the supreme law of the land. It's for seasons like this, because it's actually far less about you and it's more about the people who hold the position of government.
Right.
That's why it says getting their just powers from the consent of the governed. And so it's beyond imperative that you are active locally. It's beyond imperative that you are making content, that if you're seeing something happen in your local government, your state government, that you say, this is going to hurt the business communities. This is going to hurt my ability to make a living, my neighbor's ability to make a living for our families. You have to speak up. If we don't keep this thing goes away. And so it's not going to happen automatically. And so Kevin O'Leary, he's moving to winning states.
Yep. And
taking billions with him. And you know who else is doing it? His other billionaire friends.
Yep.
You know who else is doing it? Their other billionaire friends.
Speaking of billionaires,